Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today for our live stream. So I'm Celeste from Business Edge Accountants and I'm standing in for Clayton, so don't mind the tracksuit. And also I'd like to introduce you, we've got Chris here from HappyHR who's joining us and hopefully clearing up some concerns that you all may have under HR. So Chris, can you introduce yourself please?
G'day everybody, my name's Chris, I'm CEO of HappyHR. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to yourself today. I really do appreciate it. And if there's any Q&A that people have got us through this process, we're certainly here to help people streamline their HR in a very smooth and effective way. HappyHR is a technology platform which also comes with great HR support as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've been using HappyHR for some time and it's really great for just so many different tools that you have that business owners can access and have that peace of mind when they've got those questions to ask as to what they can do in certain situations. So yeah, you need a HR team in your business. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the advantage for HappyHR for clients is a lot of businesses can't afford they can't afford a HR manager in their business.
Yeah.
Keeping compliant in Australia today is really, really difficult. Our in-house counsel is flat out at the moment with everything from the new OH&S case that happened today in Brisbane. They got, for the industrial manslaughter, first manslaughter case that went through, the casual standoff that went through with the Rosado case. And there's so many other things happening. So keeping your policies compliant and your contracts aligned not only commercially, which you want to train a trade and all that stuff, but also keeping compliant to legislation is a big challenge that businesses struggle with. So being able to provide that service to people for a really low fee is a great thing because they don't want to spend big bucks on HR, but be able to have that technology platform that gives that. But again, having a HR manager can go, hey, I've got a problem with Johnny, can you please help me? And actually getting a senior consultant to help you is something that we, through COVID, we really like an account to become that essential service to make sure they're not in trouble, and that's what our goal is right now, is to truly help people and take away that anxiety. That's a big part of what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And like with us, with our services over COVID, like you guys, we've been drawn in closer with our clients, which has been really awesome to be there with them through this journey, because we're all in it together and we're all going to come out the other side together, which is going to be great. So today what we wanted to do was just talk to you about a few different HR concerns that we may have, and we're going to talk about casuals. If you could start us off, please, Chris.
Absolutely. So I suppose a massive case happened with the Rosado decision. Happened quite some time ago, but it's gone through the courts, the High Court, etc. And basically many employers are really scared about this one. They actually, to be frank, they should be. They haven't been really adhering to what it really makes a casual. So I think to touch on the Rosado decision in layman's speak, you've got a person who was employed as a casual. The business really thought that they were casual. And it's been proven that this employee was in fact a permanent part-timer. Now, based on that, they've been entitled to annual leave. But because there was no offer of a part-time details, there wasn't any set-off clause in his contract. Now he's gone and got back paid annual leave, etc. And now that's above the loading that was already paid. So that means essentially people can double dip. Very scary for employers. Early childhood learning, retail, manufacturing, the list goes on, quite scary. So it's important to have an understanding of how you need to structure your casual contracts, but it comes down to a few key things. So what makes a casual? We'll talk about that. But then what is your payroll compliance and around your rostering and so forth? So maybe a good thing to start is what makes a casual person might be the best way to go.
Yeah, and I was Googling, doing some research before today's session, and you determine it as a systematic casual. That's right?
That's correct. So the issue right now is a lot of people, what makes a casual and a permanent part-timer? So let's explain the two.
Yeah.
A permanent part-time employee essentially is offered a shift and they must take it, because in their contract they stipulate, say, 30 hours a week. They work Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and set hours. These are the hours in your contract, and by definition, they're a part-timer because because this particular employee is deemed to be, I suppose their time's controlled, so they get the benefits of sick and annual prorata and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Regards to a casual, by definition, you actually offer a shift and they accept that shift. They don't have to accept that shift. That's the beauty of someone being casual versus a part-time. They might go, you offer me a shift, but I don't want it, but give it to Johnny Smith, I don't want it today, or look, I'm happy to take it. Now, the problem starts when a casual starts to kind of look like a permanent part-timer. That means what you refer to as systematics. What that means is let's say you've got a casual that works similar hours every week. So you've got the benefits of a casual employee, but realistically, they're actually permanent part-time. So that's where the systematic rules coming into place. So you can't have people being systematic. And that's where the education piece happens with your managers or rostering or payroll people, that if they see that someone's being systematic, you need to say, you know what, go back to the employee and say, we're hiring you casual, but it's become quite frequent. We should probably move you to a permanent part-time. And if you're not doing that, I reckon, look, I'm a bit worried about the decision of they've got to, be talking to people at Fair Work and other. I think the issue is right now, checking that every 6 months at a maximum would be a good setting reminders to do that, to check, is this person systematic? Are they not? Let's look at the last 2 months' pay slips. Is that quite regular or not? If it is, then you should be looking at them as a part-timer rather than a casual.
Yeah. And as a business owner, you wear so many hats in the business, but it's really important that this is done. And knowing that, if you're doing that 6 month check, that something sort of alarm bells do go off to you, that, you've got a HR team such as yourselves that you're engaged with, you can just ask these questions to get that clarification. So
exactly right. So we had a question. We've had, obviously, through this decision, we've done a lot of things. So first of all, it's this education piece with clients to say, right, there's a couple of steps you can take. Educating your payroll people, and do you really know in your business what makes a systematic casual? Second point to that, if they are deemed as potentially part-time, you need to go sit down with that employee and say, look, we've done a review. We believe you should be part-time. Here's a part-time contract. They can reject that, but at least you've got a rejection. You've got it in writing and so on and so forth.
Yes.
And that's important that you do that, because that way you can show that, you have proven that. Now, other part of the protection that needs to come in behind that is a set-off clause. Now, a set-off clause basically says, in the future, in your casual contract, in this future, if you are deemed as a part-time or permanent part-time, so part-time or full-time employee, the loading that we've paid you deemed part of the debt or part of the annual leave. So then it doesn't allow the employee to double dip. Now, a lot of people don't have set-off clauses in their contracts, which we do. We're quite pragmatic. We understand the law. We understand, got very good lawyers and in-house counsel we work with. So now you've got the payroll, people being educated, you've got proper contracts, and then you've got a systematic review. So that way, if they're going to be part-time or not, rejection or acceptance, and you've got a set-off clause, so they do go you've got a set-off clause sitting there. So it's a triple whammy you need to do to protect yourself.
Yeah, really important. Yeah.
Yeah, super important.
So, was there anything else you wanted to add on that casual employment, like the questions that you guys might get a lot from your clients, or?
Yeah, I think first of all, helping people understand the three things I've just said. So they're going through so probably a couple of things. First of all, you need a position description, okay? And it's very important that position description has effective measurements of performance and so forth. Why do you need a position description? Accountants like you all the time get asked, how much should I pay Johnny Smith? And accountants go, well, what do you think they are? And if you haven't cited a position description, do not do an interpretation. And if you're not aware of this, use the HappyHR or for our support services, because you need to interpret properly. So let's say you've got a position that's got a PI, which is a performance indicator, and proper measurement of performance. You can deem that employee, let's say they're under the Clerks Award, they're level 2, level 3, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Now you can do a proper interpretation. So whether they're casual or other, that's the first part. Now, they might be casual for 6 months, and then you do what I've said. The payroll officer goes, it's pretty regular. I think we need to offer them a part-time. Then you've got a casual contract with a set-off clause, and then you've got that permanent part-time process. So you follow that process. So the inquiries we've got is, what is the process and what support can we do? And in a lot of cases that we know our clients are okay because they've worked with us, but we do 15 minutes of support, no obligation, just give us a call. That's what we do.
Yes.
So, and what happens with that, like 9 times out of 10, like I had one this morning for a manufacturing business. They go, I'm paying this guy $20 an hour. I'm like, hang on, that seems low. It was actually $26.75 he had to pay. I'm like, you know, you're underpaying this person right now. And they're like, oh my God. And I go, look, go back and do a reconciliation. You got to back pay this person because this is the role. Now he's got to correct. I went through his process. He's got to correct PD because that actually reflects it. Now he can do a correct interpretation based off that. So it's about understanding diligence and understanding that it all is like a web. PD, contracts, interpretation, casual or not, and then you've got contract policies and Ps. So people are like very confused. This is a big piece. How do I put this together? Well, actually is the process, and that's actually the thing. It is a process, but every business is different. That's the problem with HR. You got a manufacturer, trade business. The process will be slightly different based off their entitlements in the award, but also the PD. So it is truthfully off of a case-by-case basis. But anyone watching this, if you don't know or aren't clear on the process, please reach out because it's very important you don't get the sequential order wrong.
Yeah, and you know, and when you break it down like that it is a process that you step through. You only have to just get that one step done, then move to the next, and you know, can create clarity and also remove that anxiety from that business owner, knowing that they're stepping through a process that, you know, hundreds, if not thousands, have actually stepped through before as well. So
absolutely. I think any business owner, you know, that's watching this or accountant or other, there'll be a knot in their chest. Am I okay? It's just important that, you know, I look at it like this. I wrote a blog if you go to HappyHR's blog, I wrote a blog early in January. I said, your HR professional is as important as your accounting professional this year, right? Because rules changed in March and there's been so many changes. There's so many Australian businesses that are so far not compliant right now. That is very scary. So all they're doing each week is creating more and more liability they are not aware of. And that's when it can come in and go, oh my God, you've got this gaping hole in your P&L. By the way, everyone, completely avoidable if you just do things properly. So reach out to Business Edge or whoever and just find out, am I okay? And they'll refer to us. We work closely, let you guys know where it's at and come up with a plan to make sure you're okay. Don't sit on your hands. Don't bury your head in the sand. Please do the right thing because employees know their rights. And let me tell you, employees more than ever, there's blogs on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Facebook about how to do things with JobKeeper and how to do things with what changes with casual. They know their rights now. So if you step out of line, they are going to tell you they're stepping out of line. All they need to do is make one call to Fair Work and they can create a lot of problems for you. So get it right.
Yeah, due diligence. Absolutely. And because you're sort of gone there on that JobKeeper space, I think it'd be really relevant if we spend a few minutes discussing.
No worries.
Because, you know, like the volume of interactions we've had with clients and non-clients asking us certain questions about JobKeeper that we are able to answer, but sometimes there is obviously that HR element that we advise you to go and speak to the HR specialist.
So JobKeeper been an interesting one. It's been the good, the bad, and the ugly. And actually, I've been putting posts on LinkedIn saying, please be kind to your accountant because I've been getting absolutely murdered here. And they've really been under a lot of pressure. But so hopefully, people being kind because it has been hard for accounting to keep up with the legislation.
Yeah, we have amazing clients. I know nothing bad to say about our clients. We love them. So,
very good.
Yeah.
So what questions do you have about the JobKeeper?
So if you're paying JobKeeper and do your staff have to work? That's quite often a question that we get.
Yeah. So reality is you're paying them money. Okay. So regardless if they originally earned $300 a week and now you're paying them $750, right?
Yeah.
If there is a job to do, they should really by rights do it. Now we're getting quite this. The problem is a lot of employers have had a couple of things happen, aka they go to Dr. How many, and Dr. How many says you can have the whole week off, and there's not much you can do because they've got a medical certificate, and then I've seen people going sick every week they're sick. Right? So they've gone from being a very good employee to now they're just constantly sick, which is probably not right, but it is happening, right? In that situation, there's not much you can do because you've got a medical certificate and you're getting paid JobKeeper, which is really unfortunate.
Yes.
Do they have to work? Yes, they do. If you ask them to work, if it's reasonable and legal and safe and so forth, then yes, it's legal. I would certainly say you need a health and hygiene policy. You've got sterilizers and other things in your business to make sure you've got all that. But yes, it's safe and reasonable to do so. It's a fair and honest request. So yes, you can make your staff work. It's fair and reasonable. It's part of their employment contract. You're asking them to do something that you wouldn't do normally. You're creating a safe environment with socialization and all those things. So social separation, there should be no problems in that regards.
Yeah, because when we all come out of the other side of JobKeeper and there's no more government support, everyone's going to want to have that employment still. So what you demonstrate throughout this whole process as an employee and an employer is really going to reflect in September when it finishes and where you stand, I think, definitely. And there's going to be those employees that are just going to be standouts that have just done an exceptional job through this period.
Yeah.
So,
I think going on that, if you've got people have been a bit playful, I call it playful, but it's really not very great. If you've got jobs, but now you have to actually pay someone additional or someone else in the business has to make up that mark, that's really, really difficult for the employer and the other employees involved who are actually engaged.
Yes.
Really difficult conversation to have, but just don't go terminating people or whatever. Like, be very careful. There is rules around redundancy. I can see in September when this happens, redundancies are going to go bananas. Be really careful that you're not doing redundancy incorrectly because you're going to end up with a general protections claim. So be very careful. You step through the redundancy process, and it is a process again. It is a process you have to follow. And if you follow it correctly, then you're okay. If you don't follow it correctly, then you can find yourself in trouble.
Yeah, that's right. And, it's like you say, it's going to those underlying issues. There might be something going on that you need to speak to your employee about so that you can make sure that you're on board together on that journey.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So another question we had is, can I get my staff on JobKeeper to work tasks outside their regular hours?
Yeah. So regular hours probably not, but different jobs and tasks, yes. So as an example, I've had a client call and say, look, Johnny Smith has got a contract, full-time contract, and now he's got a part-time contract because his hours are reduced. The process should be, let's say you're doing 38 hours and JobKeeper is now for that employee 27.5 as an example.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to give them a part-time contract with 27.5 with a review date each month until we come out of this as an example, right? That's best practice. So now you've got a job that they do 27.5. Now, as part of that, if you want them to work outside the regular hours they've worked, you need to negotiate that prior to submitting that part-time contract. They can reject it and say, I'm happy to work for you, but it needs to be within the time that I typically work. So no, that's by negotiation. If they reject that, then it's a no. Okay?
Yep.
I've had people go, you know what, we've got a office, it's looking a bit untidy, and we're going to do a bit of a working bee. So I'm going to get them painting and doing other things. Now, it's, most PDs have other reasonable requests, right? If they're physically able and there's no medical reason and blah, 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 ask them to, you're not going to ask them to work from height, so they can do some painting or other. It's not really unreasonable. It's like, guys, come in with your stuff and do that. And there's some people saying, look, I'm not doing that, and you're going to get this argy-bargy. But it's about negotiation on that. You can ask them, they can still reject it, but it's about asking them to say, well, look, let's get ready. I compare it to a race car, right? The way I've looked at COVID is like this. I'm hammering down the street in my Ferrari, which I don't have one, but I should have one. So I'm hammering down the street in my Ferrari race car, and I'm last to brake, I'm first to corner. That's the way I roll, okay? Now, because I'm turning the corner really quick, I'm on the gas out of the corner fast. So when COVID really starts to turn, I'm now powering out of the corner. So I'm first to market with everything that I'm doing. That's the way I roll. So with your business, you should be saying, right, what do you do regularly, and what value can you add with other projects, and get them engaged and saying, look, you've been an accounts person, but let's create some new dashboards, some new widgets, or whatever it might be. If you're in operations, you might go, let's review our marketing plan. So get them to work on projects. They're going to have that ability to be that power, put on the gas as you come out of it. So work with your team and say, let's alter the duties. I know these are not things you normally do, but let's engage and let's take it forward. Now, most people are pretty reasonable. Some aren't, but most are.
Yeah, and I've also found that there's so many different, like your regional TAFEs, especially for us in Wodonga, they're offering free courses. So why not have those, those interviews with your team members and see whether or not you're doing one of those courses, to enhance their particular skills that they might be interested in. So it could be a win-win for the business and for the employee. So
one thing that I'm really big on is, you know what, we're not in Kansas anymore. It's not going to be the same business, right? So working with, I know I'm doing a lot of things myself, but what I think is really important is to say, what does my, like, hand on heart, I look at it like this. You've got strategic, operational, and financial goals, okay? And now there's going to be a new operational baseline, not negotiable, what you need to achieve. Now, these benchmarks that you've set need to be in a position with a performance indicator and some sort of measurement, aka this measurement is the activity required to breathe that performance indicator, and that links directly to a benchmark. Now, you've looked at your business, you go, I've done a skills gap analysis, I've gone marketing, sales, operations, finance, whatever. And we've gone looking at my people, what gaps do I have and what opportunities do I have to re-engage them? So doing these courses, like you said, and then giving them a new position description with these new things that they're going to do post-COVID is not only very engaging for the business, very engaging for the employee, they can see that they're professionally being developed. That's the new world. But now you know your operational baselines are going to get met because you're measuring it and you're monitoring it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't measure it, you can't see the success awesome. So I think the last sort of JobKeeper question that I had that I thought we could cover off on is, if your staff receive JobKeeper and they need to take a sick day or annual leave day, how does that work? Okay,
so I suppose it's like any, if they're working for you, so let's say you've got a part-time contract now, that's now 25 hours, and they need to take a sick pay, they would get a sick pay as part of that. So that's still pretty typical. With annual leave, well, they're getting paid JobKeeper anyway, so you don't really double dip. So no, you probably wouldn't do the annual leave, but sick pay, yes. I've got this question. One of the questions I get quite a bit is, I've got JobKeeper and I'm paying them 27.5 hours a week, but I really can't afford to pay annual leave to top them up to 38 hours because they've got all this annual leave. Do I need to pay that? No, you don't need to pay that. The business is not in a position to pay that additional amount to bring them up to 38 hours. You don't need to.
Yeah.
So it's so be careful there. That's the answer on that.
And that's like that, what you spoke about earlier is that case by case, every employer is different with their employee circumstances. It's just a phone call to ring and ask your HR specialist, i.e. Using you guys, and get that answer and feel confident as an employer that you're doing the right thing by your employees.
Yeah. So, I honestly, through COVID, like we've easily done, over $1 million if you compare it to legal advice or other, over $1 million of advice easily. Not only that, we really sat back with employers, and there's some really rough employees that are really assertive and aggressive because they're getting reduced in their hours and they're upset. I get it, right? So they go, you have to do this, and I've read Fair Work, and all of a sudden the employer goes, oh my God, what do I do here? They get scared, they get anxious. Like, what do I do? Many cases, and there's many cases where the employee said, you owe me this and you have to pay me this and you need to do this. And the employer, thankfully through accountants like yourself, have gone, I've got this client, is this right? Is the employee right? And we've gone back and saying, no, you don't need to do this. You need to do this, but you don't need to do this and this. And it's saved employers, like we've saved, oh my God, in payment, ridiculous amount, right? Yeah. All because it was all hearsay and the employer was in fear. Thankfully, we got a chance to speak to them and they didn't need to pay, and they had an email with the scenario, the action and the advice, which is how we deliver our advice. So they could show the employee, yes, you're correct here, but you're not correct here, and this is why. Now an emotional conversation is totally diffused, and
Yes.
the employee now hasn't got this gaping hole in their P&L, which they thought they were going to have.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, thank God I got this advice. This
Yeah.
could have been a disaster for them.
Yeah, that's right. And it's the stress and the anxiety that goes along with that too, you know, whereas if you become train yourself just to pick up the phone and ask the question, you know, like what we train our clients to do is just to, if they're not sure on something, just ring us and ask. We don't charge you for every phone call. We don't, you know, keep a log of everything. It's a matter of if we can answer that question, like, and it's going to help you, like we'll get there through with you. So, well, I think that's awesome. So thanks very much for your time, Chris. We've gone for a little bit over our 20, but I think it's really relevant what we covered today and should put a lot of business owners at ease. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people going back tonight watching the replay. So thanks for everyone for tuning in. And obviously, thanks to you, Chris.
The one thing I'll mention before we go,
please.
What is no obligation on our website? There is a free HR risk assessment on our website. One of the things that people are using at the moment, they go to a website, click on free HR risk assessment, and it's like a 5-10 minute quiz they answer. Now, there's no obligation, doesn't cost you anything. What it does, it actually tells you your current HR health position, and then you're in a position to go, I'm 30% here, I'm 80% here, I'm 70% here. What should I do? It's not a sales tool. It's like, this is now something you can action as a business only. Yes, if you use us, great, another provider, whatever. But now you know where you stand and what your obligations are, and you can actually action and do something about it. It gets directly emailed. It's a big PDF you get. It's a brilliant document.
Yeah, no, that's great. And, we have that abundance mindset that, there are going to be other providers that they might download that and then go and find their own HR specialist, which is fine, in accounting. It's a matter of as long as you get the help that you need, I think.
Right.
So, awesome. All right, well, thanks, Chris. We'll sign off now. I'll just end. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, so